Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ako po ay si Christine Grace Villarreal-Guala at ako po ay isa sa mga visually impaired student. Ang akin pong diferensya sa mata ay dulot po siya ng aksidente kasi noong 3 years old pa ako, sabi ng mama ko ay natukso ko daw po ito ng something stick daw po yung right eye ko at huli na nakita ito at hindi po siya na dala agad sa doktor. Meron po siyang mga traditional method lang ng paggamot, gaya na lamang ng pagpapatak ng tawa-tawa sa mata ko. Yun lamang po yung ginawa. At nung grade 3 na ako, siguro mga 9 years old na ako noon, ay doon ko na nalaman na bulag na pala yung isang mata ko. As in, totally blind po siya. Dahil tinatakpan ko yung mata ko, bakit hindi ko makakita sa right eye ko, yung iba ko kaklase nakakita. So, doon ako na-curious at sinabi ko sa mga magulang ko at nung tinignan, hindi nga ko talaga ako nakikita. Mula pa ito, nung bata pa ako, syempre sa pag-aaral is mahirap kasi may mga panahon o may mga pagkakataon na hindi po ako makakakita. Kapag nag-aaral ako is bawal po ako mag-aral ng yung super na pag-aaral kasi bawal rin po akong magpuyat ng todo kasi bawal rin po sa mata ko kasi kapag kasi magpuyat ako is nagsiswell yung right eye ko and then kapag nainitan naman siya is pumupula siya, so kailangan talagang maingat ako sa mga kilos ko lalo na sa mata ko kasi maaari pong kabilang mata ko na naman yung magkaroon ng diferensya at maaari hindi na talaga ako nakakita totally. So sa lipunan naman is siyempre yung bullying is hindi talaga natin maiwasan. Minsan sinasabihin nila ako ng duling, bulag, at lahat-lahat na lang dahil sa mata ko. Siyempre, minsan duling talaga ako kasi yung tingin ko is straight, pero sabi ng iba is iba daw yung tinitingnan ko. So, bilang isang anak at apo na malapit pa ng miyembro ng simbahan is na-motivate ako dahil palagi nila akong dinadala sa simbahan at meron palaging doon, may misa doon ng pare na sasabi niya kailangan natin maging positibo sa buhay. Kung intindihin yung mga nangguguli sa'yo dahil gawin mo silang motibasyon sa pag-aaral mo at gladly narating ko yung mga pangarap ko sa buhay at naging positibo ako at ginamit ko yung mga pambubuli sa akin para maging motivasyon ko rin para narating ko yung hindi naman sa pagmamalaki is nung elementary ako kahit nasa ganitong kapansanan ako at biktima ako na samot-saring bullying is naging isa ako sa mga top student ng aming paaralan. Ng grade 6 is graduate ako bilang salutatorian. Tapos sa mga organization, sinasali ako sa mga contest at naging leader rin ako ng iba't ibang organization at ito ay nagagamit ko rin ngayon na hanggang college ako. So, kailangan lang talaga nating maging positibo sa buhay at huwag nating hayaang yung mga nabubuli sa atin at yung kapansanan natin is maging hindrance siya sa ating mga pangarap sa buhay. Isa yung pilihiyo sa akin na makaturo ako ng mga visually impaired student na gaya ko din. Dahil yung mga naranasan ko ngayong estudyante ako ay mas ma-share ko sa kanila at sa tingin ko yung mga ma-share ko sa kanila is mas magiging motivasyon pa nila sa kanilang pag-aaral para magpursige din sila at siguro mas para ma-encourage ko pa sila na maging positibo sa buhay na kailangan na nilang ipagpatuloy ang kanilang pag-aaral sa kabila ng kapansanan na may roon sila. Napapasalamat nga ako dahil mayroon tayong subject sa inclusive education dahil mas nakuhone at natitrain ngayon yung mga estudyante na gaya natin para mas magturo sa hinaharap kung paano nila i-deal at i-handle yung mga ganitong estudyante. At ang harap ko talagang ng someday is sana mayroon akong estudyante na visually impaired din or something na para mas mai-apply ko pa yung mga natutunan ko ngayon sa inclusive education.
Hello everyone!
After watching the video clip entitled Dulong, Ang Istorya ni Christine, now let us discuss the different types and categories of visual impairment.
And the major characteristics and warning signs,
The different classes of visually impaired individuals, and the teaching strategies for blind or visually impaired students.
So now let's discuss the different type of visual impairment. First, we have the low vision. It is a vision loss that cannot be corrected with glasses or contact lenses, meaning a person who experiences this type of visual impairment can only have limited sight. Another type is blindness. It is a lack of vision. It may also refer to a loss of vision that cannot be corrected with glasses or contact lenses also. The third type is legally blind. It means your central visual acuity or the part of your vision allows you to see straight, meaning your field of vision is no more than 20 degrees. The last type is visual acuity. It refers to a person's ability to see small details. It also referred to us as clarity of vision or sharpness of vision. So aside from the different types of visual impairment, we also have the different categories for visual impairment. First, we have the mild visual impairment, wherein you can read relatively larger numbers or characters. You have no difficulty in identifying shapes, colors, and brightness contrasts. While in moderate visual impairment, you can tell shapes, colors, or objects and you can distinguish them completely. You are able also to read larger characters and also read broader strokes. While in severe visual impairment, you can only distinguish more obvious changes in brightness and darkness, meaning you may not see anything, you are completely blind.
So you already know the types and categories of visual impairment. Now, let's discuss the major characteristic of child with visual impairment. So we have the three major characteristics. First is the social and emotional characteristic, the cognitive and academic characteristic, and lastly, the behavioral characteristic. First, let's discuss the behavioral characteristic. So it is a visual impairment do not cause significant behavior disorder for students with a disorder. However, it does influence their social behaviors. They are likely to be socially immature and less assertive. Next is the social and emotional characteristic. It is a visual impairment that impacts children's social emotional development. People development social behaviors by observing social cues and custom of other people and imitating them. And lastly, the cognitive and academic characteristics. It is a visual impairment have a direct impact on the student's development and learning. Children with visual impairments often have limited interactions with their environments. They use other senses, such as touch, to learn about the world around them, which has its limitation. And then, let's discuss the symptoms and warning signs of child with visual impairment. First, we have the sitting too close to the TV or holding books very close. Next is tilting their head to one side in an effort to see better. Next is frequent eye rubbing during activities, blinking repeatedly or squinting and closing one eye or the other, light sensitivity and or frequent headaches, irritation while doing visual work, losing their place while reading, poor hand-eye coordination, and lastly, avoiding reading or close-up work.
After discussing the characteristics, symptoms, and warning signs, now let us discuss the causes of visual impairment. So there are different causes of visual impairment. We have the visual impairment in glaucoma, age-related macular degeneration, cataract, diabetic retinopathy, nearsightedness, and retinitis pigmentosa. So when we say visual impairment in glaucoma, this condition is due to the rise of normal fluid pressure inside the eyes. The type of vision is usually like a tunnel. When we say age-related macular degeneration, it is a central area of woolly or cottony opacity obscures the central part of the vision. And when we say cataract, there is a general clouding of the vision. As the whole eyelid is affected, the blurring of vision may be diffuse until it is totally lost. And when we say diabetic retinopathy, it is diabetes leads to damage to the smaller arteries and blood vessels at the back of the eyes over the retina. And it also when we say diabetic retinopathy, it is the most common diabetic eye disease and a leading cause of blindness in adults. When we say nearsightedness or myopia or nearsightedness or short-sightedness means a person can see nearby objects clearly but distant objects appear blurred. High myopia may lead to vision impairment. And the last one is the retinitis pigmentosa. This is a genetic or inherited condition. Initially, it manifests as night blindness.
So after discussing the causes of visual impairment, let's discuss a tool uses by a visual impaired person, which is the Braille Sense Writer. Braille is a unique tactile writing system of raised dots that blind and partially sighted people can be read and by touch. The ability to understand Braille means that people with sight loss have the same access to written words as sighted people and are able to enjoy reading for life. So let's discuss the 10 practical tips for teaching blind or visually impaired students. First, always use names. Always use a visual impaired student first name when addressing them. This way, they will know you are talking to them and not someone else. Next one is it's okay to use words that reference sight. Don't avoid words like see and look. The next one is don't gesture, always verbalize. When writing on the board, you always verbalize what you are writing so the student has access to the information and can follow along. Next one is avoid asking if a student can see something. Don't ask a student, can you see this? They often can see it, but that does not mean that they can access it or read it. Next one is correct setting is crucial. Always favor the stronger side of the student vision due to visual field deficits. And contrast. When teaching visually impaired or blind students, use contrast for everything. Next one, follow the leader. When in line, direct their attention to the child in front of them using color of clothing or hair and have them model or follow what the child is doing, like example, stopping, walking straight, turning, and etc. Always moving slowly or for safety. Next one, be a confident sighted guide. If you need to be a sighted guide for a preschooler, offer 2 fingers or your wrist for them to hold. The next one, safety first. Students need to understand the rules of the road and always use the right hand side of hallways or the right railing. And lastly, examine your own beliefs. Be aware of your own acceptance and your belief surrounding what students who is blind or visually impaired can do both in your classroom and as a professional. That's all. Thank you.